Back to Beyond Ball. It's your host, Jacob III, and your co-host, Gabe Caraway. Today, we're back with our sponsors, and quotation marks, we're actually not sponsored. We're here. Mine's Diet Coke. Best drink alive. Actually, second best drink alive. You got Diet Mountain Dew on Gabe's side, which is actually the best drink alive. It's Halloween special. I was going to wear a costume, but Gabe said no. So, boo him. It's overall been a great weekend. Great sports weekend. Definitely some crazy things happen.
Not for us.
Not for us. Yeah.
Teams.
So our teams, you're gonna learn went 0-3 on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday. It made me almost drive to drink, and I really wanted to, but I didn't. We moved. I drank a lot of water. Let's put it that way. And it was, of course, water. But yeah, so let's just start off going to college football. I really don't want to talk about college football because of the pain that happened late Saturday night of whatever the hell happened. Let's start off with the overall player of the week. Absolute dog. This guy is one of the best running backs in whole entire college football, honestly, in my eyes. Probably top 10. Or so people put him top 5. I see him that, but finally plays a great defense and runs all over him. Shout out our player of the week, Auburn running back Jarquez Hunter. They played Kentucky this past weekend. They won like 31-10, something like that. He had 23 carries, 278 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's always been a really, really great player, and now just finally get that recognition that I see a lot of people aren't really giving him. Finally giving him, it's really good to see, as he's one of my favorite running backs in all college football to watch, outside of Caleb Jackson and Ashton Jeanty. But yeah, I don't like that he plays for Auburn. That's really all I don't like about him. Oh yeah, him too. Yeah, I do like Hayden Durham, but we don't go ball enough, so I can't really form an opinion. That's a joke because obviously we suck. So let's just go straight to play of the weeks here. I'm going to start with mine. So fun fact, me and Gabe always joke about this. Bowling Green, like State University, is not in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Whoever made that up should get fired, personally. But shout out their cornerback, Jordan Oladukan, I think that's how you say it. They played Toledo this past weekend. He had 3 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, 4 touchdown. His touchdown, it was like a pretty athletic play. He just drove it yoink yoink and just went tutty to the house. And shout out, this one warmed my heart. Dynasty, Old Dominion Dynasty, had it for a couple years. This guy was the bridge quarterback going from a very, very bad Old Dominion team that went 2-10 to a brand new starter quarterback. Shout out Colton Joseph, Old Dominion quarterback. He played Georgia Southern this past weekend. They went 20 for 26, 304 yards, 4 tutties, 8 carries, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown. Fun fact, in my Road to Glory, I had a Road to Glory quarterback franchise thing. He was in the Heisman for about 3 weeks. I was all for it. It was good to see that. I love the dude. I actually do like watching Old Dominion for some reason. Don't know why. It's just that special place in my heart. Number 3 here, I have Terrell McMillan out of Arizona, wide receiver. He's like 6'8", pretty tall dude, 6'4", projected top 15 pick in this upcoming draft. Played West Virginia. They lost because Arizona sucks. I mean, Arizona sucks. I mean, they were ranked. They were projected to make top 3 in Big 12, and now their offense is horrendous. I blame the quarterback, my dark horse favorite, and Noah Fafita. But McMillan had 2 receptions, 202 yards, and a touchdown. I'm glad he always deserves his respect. He's always been a great wide receiver. He just doesn't have a great quarterback. And most of the time that quarterback's running for his life because he has a terrible offensive lineman. And number 3 here, I have Tulane running back Mekhi Hughes. They played North Texas past weekend. Love Tulane. Don't like the campus, but I do love the football team. 30 carries, 195 yards, and a touchdown. He was technically rated the second best running back of the week, as Caleb Johnson did not play. My king, my goat. And of course, as GT didn't have the best of games, but yet still had 106 yards of contact against UNLV, which was chef's kiss. And then, of course, my last one, it always has to be a kicker. Just your daily kicker appreciation. The highest rated kicker this week was Miami of Ohio's kicker, Dom DeZebon. What a name. And it's a white dude. Who guessed it? Played Central Michigan. He went 5 for 5 field goals, long of 51. And they went 3 for 3 for extra points.
All right. Let me scroll back up. Trying to get caught up here. All right. First place. This is another one. It's kind of like Bowling Green State. I thought the school was in Jacksonville, Florida. It is in Jacksonville, Alabama. I don't know why. I actually didn't even know that place existed. Jacksonville State. Running back Trey Stewart, playing Middle Tennessee State. He had 21 carries, 210 yards, a touchdown. And then he also added 2 catches for 24 yards. Probably the only running back that would have been on my list. You're typically the running back guy. But then I looked over at this dude, Woody Marks, who cooked LSU in week 1. So he's always kind of been on my radar. And he was good at Mississippi State as well. Against Rutgers, he had 15 carries for 94 yards, which, all right, not bad. Pretty good day. But then the 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. Pretty much carrying their offense against Rutgers because USC's offense needs it after week 1, where they've fallen way off a cliff. And then one of the most impressive teams in the country right now, their cornerback, D'Angelo Pons of Indiana, not just a basketball school. They're showing it this year. They're undefeated. They played Washington. D'Angelo Pons got a 67-yard pick six in that game. He had 2 interceptions on the game, added 3 tackles, and then also a half tackle for loss. Big part of their defense and what they're doing over there and why they're undefeated. Honestly, it's crazy that Indiana's – I think they're still over Alabama. That's just crazy. What a world we live in. And then Taylon Green, a guy that led Arkansas to a win over Tennessee a few weeks ago, playing Mississippi State. Obviously, the worst defense in the SEC, but still, you put up 6 total touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. He had 23 of 29 as well, passing, 314 yards through the air. Did have 1 interception, but he's giving you the 5 passing touchdowns. And he's also giving you the ground game, which is 8 carries for 79 yards. And then the aforementioned 6th touchdown. And then you have a guy, I think this guy was, I believe he's draft eligible this year, Suntarine Perkins of Ole Miss, one of their linebackers, leader on their defense, even though their defense isn't crazy good. But against Oklahoma on Saturday, he was crazy good because he had 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and 8 total tackles on the day. Probably one of the best defensive performances of the week, and just a great week for players of the week. I thought we had pretty good lists, pretty balanced. We try not to go heavy. I guess we could just do quarterbacks probably every week and pick 5, but we try to get new guys in here. We've had some repeat offenders before. My king, John Mateer, was not on here this week. Still had a good game, and he's got Washington State ranked, but
yeah, so I'm looking at I'm looking tonight. FIU's playing tonight. Yep, FIU for Atlantic, the worst team that was last year. Terrible. I already found my player for next week. And Gabe, you want to go look at the stats for it? You would completely agree. I call him. But that's besides the point. That's next week's problem. So going into this week 9, it was a hype weekend. going into the year, but now it kind of died down. But you still had some pretty interesting matchups for sure. Um, so on Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. You
Hold on.
have a
Time out. Time out. Time out. Do you see the look at the Louisiana Tech at Sam Houston State score right now? It's 3-2 at halftime.
Good God! Let me charge my computer real quick.
Like a baseball game.
Thanks for the time.
Shout out Sam Houston. Perfect dynasty rebuild team for any of you out there that are looking to rebuild a team that is not good. That is the team I would recommend. Also, Kennesaw State, who we will be talking about very shortly.
Yeah, so I'm going into this week. I was very busy, and I was like, you know what? To distract myself, I turned on Wednesday games, and I'm thinking, what game should I just watch? Just to watch, just to educate myself of these absolute dogs that are playing that I just don't know about. And I look at a certain score. It's 6-0 Liberty versus 0-6 Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State just came back from the FCS, or just came up from the FCS. Terrible, terrible team. Awful, god-awful team. Great unis. Amazing uniforms. Awful, awful team. And playing a technically undefeated Liberty team. And I'm thinking, yep, absolute blowout. Kennesaw State won. Just a little spoiler alert. 27-24. Had me in shambles. Had me in shock. I'm sitting at my TV like this.
Had everybody. It was everywhere.
Liberty is not a good team. I'm going to keep that a buck. Liberty is not a top 25 team. Barely even a top 50 team. In my eyes. I remember...
Caden Salter's good, though. I like Caden Salter.
Yeah, he is. I remember looking on Twitter, and I'm thinking... I was looking at Twitter, scrolling to Twitter, and I'm like, Liberty should be a top 25 team. There should be a college football playoff contention right now, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, who has they played? Let's just look at their schedule going from August. They played Campbell University. Nice. New Mexico State, they won by 6 points. UTEP, they're awful. Okay, they beat a decent Eastern Carolina team. I'll give them that. Oh, they beat FIU in overtime. Good job, guys. Good job.
No,
good job. Y'all really made a statement today. And then go and play Kennesaw State 0-5, 0-6. Go to their house, you're thinking Drew Dahl walk them, and honestly, you get messed up. You suck. You're awful. Kane Slaughter, you're okay, I guess. Teron Stibley, learn LinkedIn, buddy. You suck. Billy Lucas, the other running back they have, you suck. You're awful. Plain and simple. I mean, there's no way around it. Quentin Cooley, where have you been? Like, you're supposed to be an absolute dog this year. Had you in my I played cut for like a week. Like the college football ultimate team for like a week. Here's my running back
long.
Point time.
That's too long.
I completely agree. And so just get better. That's all I have to say. Anything you want to add on that game? I think I covered most of it.
Yeah, I did. There were some stats that I'd like to that I picked out that I found pretty interesting. Liberty's they're not good. All right, and I was not, I guess, in these circles that you were hearing people wanted them ranked. This is not the Malik Willis Liberty team back when they actually were ranked. Caden Salter is a good quarterback, but I got to be honest, I didn't know much about their team outside of that. I just assumed they weren't that good. And we're just playing in a week. I believe they're in Conference USA, so we're just playing in a week conference. So Kennesaw State's quarterback, of course, this is an 0-6 team, so their quarterback's not going to be blowing you off the stat sheet. Pause with his stats, but he came in and went 16 of 20, This is a guy that was like Anthony Richardson and had 55% completion percentage on the year before this game. So you come in there and let him look like a game managing expert, and that's how you lose to this team. This is a team that scored 5 points against Middle Tennessee State, who is really bad. And they also lost 63-24 to Jacksonville State. So it's pretty clear Kennesaw should have no business winning this game, but Liberty managed to find a way. And it was for, I think, most of the reasons that we've already covered.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd like to point out the Kennesaw State quarterback, Davis Bryson, his name, has 805 passing yards a year, 3 touchdowns, to 6 interceptions. Absolute dog. That's the guy I want as my quarterback. Actually, I wouldn't say this dude can run the ball. He can't. He doesn't actually.
no.
So just get better. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Now let's just move on because there's no reason to spend a lot of time on a Wednesday night game, but it was a pretty big upset. I think Liberty was like 21.5. Like the spread was 21.5 onto the Liberty side, which is that was bad. But yeah, so going to Friday right here, you got Boise State going to UNLV, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. As we say it here all the time, cinema. Plain and simple. We knew it was going to be like that going to the game. Be honest with you, we sat there thinking, man, this game's going to be absolutely beautiful. And it was. UNLV's defense really stepped up to the challenge of a man that scares me. If I was a defensive side playing linebacker, and I see that, if I see Ashley GT staying there like, what's his name? Halloween.
Michael Myers
staying there like that. I'm running away.
He's 5'9" too. He's tiny.
I'm running away. I'm telling my coach, hey coach, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You need to get me out. I'm scared for my life. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to catch some Z's low key. But they really stepped to the challenge. He still had 108 yards of the contact. Don't get me wrong, but he had scored a touchdown. But he had 33 carries, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, and a season low 3.9 yards per carry. If that's a low, sign me up. Cowboys are going to get an absolute dog with Ash GT. I think it's kind of known that he's going to go there. I think other people need too many needs, and Cowboys need a running back bad.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out Max Madison. He's having quite a really good year. He has 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's passing the ball efficiently. He's being the game man quarterback you need him to be. So, Friday night, he really stepped up a little bit and got threw the ball down the field when GT was getting stopped. He had 3 carries for 58 yards and a touchdown as well. Had passing touchdown to add on. But he was really spreading the ball out around. He was getting the ball out to receivers, getting the ball down the field when GT was getting stopped. But Hadj Malik Williams, you're not that great. You can run the ball really, really well. I'm not going to lie. 19 carries, 105 yards and a touchdown, 5.5 yards per carry. But the passing end needs a lot of work. And I think that's kind of known for him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is a freshman. He's a freshman or sophomore. He does have 12 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So I think there's a lot to build on off this year.
So, yeah, this game, this was cinema, and it was late night cinema. What else are you doing at 12:52 on a Friday night if you're not watching some Mountain West football? Like, I think the smart people were watching 2 of the best teams, maybe the 2 best teams in the Mountain West Conference. I can't remember the standings very well. I know Boise State's first. This was the most we've seen Genty get stuffed. And even then, you read the final stats, and you're like, okay, he's a pretty good starting running back. Because, almost 4 a carry, that's not exactly bad numbers. but yeah, you shouted out their defense. Jackson Woodard, UNLV's, I believe he's their middle linebacker or off-ball linebacker, whatever he plays. He was getting in there. He was reading the runs. He was stopping them early on in this game. And then I think they did a better job of kind of scheming. I think they did some more outside runs and schemed Genty to get some more space for him because it wasn't really working. They like to go up the middle with him. It wasn't really working a lot in this game. And you shouted out Madsen as well. He made a lot of good plays early on when they had to rely on the pass game. I think the issue for Boise is they don't really have that receiver that can really consistently get open for them. So in a game like this where they have to lean on their passing game and their receivers, it was a bit of a struggle, and that's why it was a very close game. And also the fact that UNLV just has a pretty good defense. Matt Lauder at tight end is probably their best weapon in the pass game. He had a very nice game. I was very impressed. I think he had, I don't have his stats on here, but he was the most reliable pass weapon in this game. And then Boise State's defense, I kind of known about this for a few weeks now. They're the best team in the nation in getting sacks, and they had 6 this game. So it was more of the same for them on defense. Their secondary at times gave up some plays. They had a little bit of running success, UNLV did. But to get 6 sacks and then the interception off of Williams, when I watched that play, I looked at it and I didn't really see the defender was there when he threw it, but like I didn't see the UNLV receiver really go for the ball. He just kind of stood there. He didn't come back to the ball, which is not what you teach as a fellow All-Pro receiver in my prime. I'm not in my prime anymore, but I didn't like that from the receiver, although the throw wasn't a astounding Hall of Fame decision either. Ricky White is probably the biggest offensive weapon that UNLV has. And he's even blocked punts this year. He's been everywhere. He did not have that great of a game. I thought he was going to have a bigger impact. But you got to shout out the Boise State defense, where I'm sure watched the tape and saw that they needed to focus in on him and limit him. So it was just a great game. It was a great game. Came down. It was a pretty close game at the end. It was cinema. I got to watch Genty play. This is the first full game that I watched for Boise State, so it was good to see their team and kind of how they run things. And especially this game where you got to see them overcome, early on a little bit of a struggle on offense. So it was just a great game. Now this next game, I did not click into it all because it got out of hand pretty early on. I'm really glad I didn't pick Illinois in this game because Oregon absolutely whooped them. I barely have any notes for this game, if I'm going to be honest. I have like 3 things. Oregon's pretty good. They were the number 1 team in the country for a reason, and we saw that against a Illinois team which was ranked number 20 coming into this week, and then somehow is still ranked after getting beat like 38-9, I think. I don't really understand why they're still ranked, even though they've had a good season so far. You don't deserve to be ranked after this. Oregon had 527 yards on their head. The defense for Illinois had no answers. Yeah, Oregon's pretty good at this whole football thing. Yeah.
I would agree. This Oregon team is quite scary. So, and funny, it says a little side note of this Oregon team, as I'm also trying to put the Pelicans game on, so just bear with me here. This Oregon team has a chance to go undefeated, win out all the way, and not make it to the Big Ten championship. So how weird these laws work. So pretty much if Indiana and Penn State all went out and they beat Ohio State more than one, since that tiebreaker is like a margin of victory over the consistent team, Oregon only beat Ohio State by 1 point. Indiana plays them in a few weeks, and Penn State plays them this coming week. We will lock down in a few minutes. And Penn State wins by 1, and then Indiana wins by more than 1. Then it'll be like Oregon will be kicked out, and it'll be those two playing Big Ten championship, which is weird, but okay, whatever. But yeah, as a little spill, pretty cool, weird rule, love it. Oregon's pretty good at this football team, like Gabe said. Very, very good. And also, I'm also seeing this FIU wide receivers also pretty good at this whole football thing. Quick side note. Oh my gosh, he's really good at this whole football thing. Oh my gosh. Sorry. But Orange's pretty good at this job they do. Dylan Gabriel's a pretty good quarterback. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I love him to death. I just don't think he is. Jordan James is a pretty decent, gonna be an NFL running back. To be honest with you, Tej Johnson's a dog. There's not much I can say about it. This Oregon team is very scary. They put 527 yards on Illinois' dome. They had Luke Altmaier in shambles. Gabe King, or probably one of his princes, most likely actually. Luke Altmaier was in shambles, trying to do something in life, and just couldn't. Happened. You gotta learn from it. It is what it is. So going to the next game, I did not watch this game either. This game was actually pretty much over with. It was this Bama Missouri game. It's pretty obvious Missouri's not a good football team. Right now they're in shambles. They let Alabama put pretty much 500 yards on their head, and while they had a measly 239 yards, they let Jalen Midrow look like an NFL quarterback. Brady Cook. I know you're injured and all. I know you're injured, and I understand you're injured. Do better. I know you get injured during the game. Get better, please. I like to watch you play quarterback. I do like your play style. But even with your injury, you're still 7-12 for 30 yards. That's 0.4. That's 2.5 pass yards per attempt. That's not very good. Their backup quarterback, freaking Drew Pine. This dude was bad. This dude was awful. No, he 6 for 12. I just want to hate him for a second. 6 for 12, 42 yards. 3 interceptions. Alabama had this man stadium pulse to absolute max, hands shaking. They rely off their 2 running backs, Marcus Carroll and what's the other guy's name? Something Roberts. Jamal Roberts. Sorry, I had to think for a second. Poor Luther Burden. Luther Burden, if he requests a trade, he would after this game, because this game was bad. Oh gosh, I don't know what Alabama. You played good on their offensive side. Ryan Williams is going back down to an actual 17-year-old. He did get kind of manhandled a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. He is young. He is still skinny. Yep. Not the strongest in the world, but he will be. Mid-row, I still don't like you. You're my Heisman favorite. But you're still my Heisman favorite at the beginning of the year. And you were like that, and you broke my heart. So is what it is. Justice Hayes. I like you. You're not bad. Now, Jamarian Miller, the projected starter of the year, you're pretty much going to get you're going to get down to the RB1B at this point. He had 11 carries for 48 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns. He has more of a power back to the goal line, understandable. While Hayes had 8 carries, 79 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty efficient numbers if I say so myself. And now I'm looking at it, I don't know how this team got 486 yards of offense, but they did. Defense, I refuse to talk about Alabama more. Honestly, I hate them.
Yep. I don't have a lot to say either. Missouri, obviously they were kind of my wild card team before the year. I just think they haven't really improved at all from where they were last year. I'd say they even regressed. And I know they lost a lot of defensive pieces, but they got a couple nice ones in the portal. But overall, the unit has not been as cohesive this year. And even when Brady Cook was in this game, he was obviously playing through an injury. You could kind of see it because he's a little bit of a mobile threat, but he just couldn't really move very well on that ankle. And even when they were in It just wasn't doing much. Their play calling is kind of frustrating to me at times from the games that I've clicked into. This was another case of that. And no Nate Noel this game. I think even though Marcus Carroll had a pretty good game, um, all things considered, no almost called him Nerlens Noel. No Nate Noel really hurt their offense, and then you couple that with bad play calling and not having Cook for pretty much most of the game. And then their backup steps in, and that was bad. That was really hard to watch. That was some nasty football. Drew Pine was playing, if you can call it that. That's pretty generous if you did.
He was playing, I guess. He was out there.
He was playing something, that's for sure.
I know. Yeah, he was playing something. I wish it was me. What?
This was a bad Alabama defense as well, and you still couldn't do anything. You couldn't do absolutely nothing. You could do was working. Missouri's defense, much maligned as it has been, actually wasn't terrible early on, and they really kept them in this game because it was pretty low scoring for most of the first half. And then, kind of in a Titans fashion, they just kind of couldn't keep up with the offense being so bad, and eventually let up. And the score became what it was. This next game, this was a great game to watch. I clicked in about halftime, I believe.
I would agree.
While I expected Texas to win by more, it was still a very entertaining game. And I was content with the outcome because they did hold on and win. And I got my pick right. But Vanderbilt is impressing me more and more each week. I still think they should be ranked. Especially they put up a better fight against their opponent, and then Illinois gets railed by almost 30, and they're still ranked, but Vanderbilt is not. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I do. Not good. It's pretty disappointing. Vandy defense, I thought was really well. Played pretty well this game. At times, they just made the plays that needed to be made. The defensive line, I was really impressed by as well. They had 4 sacks, 9 TFLs in this game. Then they also got 2 picks off of Ewers. Ewers basically, like, very early in the game decided, all right, I'm going to go ahead and throw a pick, get one out of the way. And then he had the one later in the game. It was tipped up by the defensive lineman, and they picked it. So that one was a little less of his fault, but we've kind of seen this all year from Ewers. Wasn't where he was last year. I think he was dealing with some injury, of course, missed some games, but even before – and then since he's been back, just hasn't looked like himself that we really thought he was going to be. Step up to be potential QB1 in the draft class, but obviously we realize that's not going to happen. But going back to this game, the offense for Vandy was a little inconsistent. Third downs, they really struggled, 3 of 12. And then obviously 3 turnovers isn't going to win you many football games. Although one of them was very late in the game. You had to make something happen. Pavia just kind of dropped back, had men coming in his face all over him.
I wish.
I don't know why I said it like that, but actually I do. If you watch the play, that's exactly what was going on. He just tossed it up on a 4th and 2, and it was intercepted. But at that point, they were still able to come back after that and still fought to the end.
Yeah.
For Texas, again, before the season, they dealt with some running back injuries. They lost, I believe they were going to be their 2 starters to season-ending injuries. So they've kind of been trying to find their way through that. They have Jadon Blue, who's had a pretty good year. But in this game, it was Contravion Wisner. Really stepped up this week. Had over 100 yards, 5 a carry. I thought I was really impressed by that. And it's still impressed by Diego Pavia and the way he's playing. Again, I still like this Vanderbilt team a lot. They really impressed me. And this is really, I think this is just the beginning of what they're going to end up doing. In the next coming years, I think they could really develop and become an actual respectable team in the SEC.
I really hope so. I think the SEC is better with a capable Vanderbilt team. So this Vanderbilt team reminds me so much of that TCU team from a few years back with that made the championship. But like it's not like how not like the results, obviously, because they're obviously not going to make it to the playoffs. It's too much for that to go right. They're not going to make it. But they remind me so much of that team, just how they play. Um, that TCU team played very gritty. Um, a very gritty team, a great team. One of my favorite teams I've ever watched in all my lifetime. Showed so much heart. As I'm blanking on who the quarterback was now, I'm thinking about it. Um, he plays for the Chargers. Frick,
I
redhead.
can't remember.
I will figure it out in a few minutes. I
I don't
think about
remember.
it, but just how that team played. Dio Papia really shows a lot of grit. He wants to run the ball. He wants to pretty much run the ball down your throat and try to truck you every time for some reason. As I don't know, whoever the quarterback was, he
Why
made
can't I
Quinn
remember?
Johnson a capable wide receiver. So throw it out like that. But yeah,
I'll have to look it up. I wanted to do it myself, but
I'm trying to think. As we have a quick break, yeah, but we keep on talking here. Nate Johnson came in for like 2 plays. That dude's just fast, honestly. Max Duggan. Dang it.
That's a guy.
Why did I thought it was like
I
Garrett
knew
or
that.
like something Garrett? I don't know. Casual, but yeah. Can you not see like Max Duggan? I can think of Max Duggan, Dio Pavia, pretty much like that is a quarterback. It's really gritty. Wants to like wants to scramble, wants to run the ball, and it shows a lot of heart playing. But this Texas team is like weird for some reason. I think they were a great team. I really think they do. I think they are an amazing team. They dealt with injuries all year, but they always found ways to win. Besides the last week when they got absolutely cooked by Georgia. But overall, it's just they're gonna go. I think they're gonna make it to the playoffs and just get cooked first round. Quinn Ewers is not playing like I thought he would. I thought he was going to solidify himself as the number 1 overall pick, or at least a top 5 pick in my eyes. He's playing more like a late first round, early second round type quarterback. The Saints would draft in the 8th overall pick. Sounds about right. But I do want to shout Quintavion Wiesner as well. Like I said, Texas has been dealing a lot. Like Gabe said, he's been dealing a lot of injuries. Wiesner stepped up today. Last Saturday. Within the running game and receiving game. So that's always nice to see. Jaden Blue still had a decent game had his carries, still got some yards in. But I mean, if I'm Texas, I'm not really worried per se. You have a still like a halfway easy end to your season. You still have to play. Texas comes to you. You have to go to Arkansas. Kentucky comes to you. But the big game here is on November 30th, the final game of the year. You go to Texas A&M for the first time since playing them since 2011. It's gonna be hype. It's at 11 a.m. for some reason. Who decided to put that game at 11 a.m.?
That'll get flexed.
They're probably going to change to a night game, knowing them. But hopefully,
times are wrong. Yeah, because Alabama LSU says it's at 11 too.
True. But yeah, both I'm Texas. I'm not worried, but I would be at the same time. If you went out fine and go into the Texas A&M game, that's the real big test. You win that, you probably go to the SEC championship, and you just go from there. And you're kind of hoping Texas A&M also loses a game here and there as well, as LSU tried, but they got cooked. So going to this next game, I don't have much to say. Notre Dame absolutely. Let's just say they take down Navy. Honestly, it happens. I kind of saw it coming. I'm gonna be keeping a buck, but it's just too much fun not to. Just not to pick Navy. Notre Dame I don't think it still is not like a top 15 team in my eyes. They're a good team. I don't think the top 15. Their resumes really don't back it up. I mean, they have technically now 2 ranked wins, one over Navy, and of course the week 1 game versus Texas A&M, which has aged really, really well just because of Texas A&M being a halfway decent team. But if I'm really Notre Dame, you have to bolster. You have to like really prove yourselves next few weeks. You're probably going to get into the playoff really no matter what as a top team, because if you look at their schedule, they play 1-7 Florida State. Yikes! Fall off Florida State. They play Virginia, but then they play. Ooh, it'll be a good game right here. Army goes to them. Bryson Daly. Hopefully, Bryson Daly absolutely cooks this team into oblivion. And of course, in the last game, they play USC at USC. 11 a.m. game. Hopefully, that game's gonna be good. But you really have to. The first two games are gonna be really easy, but then you play Army, which Army has surprised a lot of people. They really gonna tire you out. I think more than Navy will. Bryson Daly is in the Heisman contention. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Be honest with you, he has more touchdowns as G&T. He's right behind on yards as a quarterback. While not really, I don't think he has turned the ball over yet this year. I'm gonna say that he's gonna turn the ball over next week, actually. And then of course you play a decent USC team. I'm not saying they're great by all means. I'm gonna say they're good to above average team. They have their moments of being a top team, but they also have their moments of being a team of all time. Put it that way. That Maryland game was rough. But yeah, I don't have much to say. For Navy, it sucks. That's the way that you lose. Blake Horvath was getting absolutely whooped this game. He didn't really do anything. He threw an interception. You're not really fit to play from behind, and really, so you're just kind of there at that point when you're down by, say, 14. You're kind of just there, just kind of hoping your defense gets stopped, but your defense is not talented enough to really stop this team. So that's my really take on it.
Yeah, and Navy, they did the one thing that they are not built to do, which is come back from early deficits. Really, I mean, I believe they had 6 turnovers in this game. They had 5 fumbles lost and then an interception as well. The 5 fumbles, like 3 of those happened in like the first or second quarter. Like the first drive they had, they fumbled. And then I believe their third drive they fumbled again. And they kept giving Notre Dame good field position. And they kept capitalizing on it. Navy's defense really didn't have a lot of answers for anything that Notre Dame was doing. Just you can't turn the ball over 6 times. Like when I saw that, I was like, because I turned it off obviously when it got out of hand. I was like, oh my goodness, they just kept fumbling the ball, kept putting it and giving Notre Dame good field position. And Notre Dame was really leaning on Jeremiah Love. This was a Jeremiah Love game. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 8.5 a carry. And Riley Leonard, he's a game manager. Like we understand that this is who Riley Leonard is. You know, I was one of the people who was hoping he was going to take a step this season. He hasn't. You know, he's a game manager. He just, does some play action and then hands the ball off to the run game, and then relies on their defense to make the stops. And they did, and they got the turnovers. The only thing I didn't really like was 9 penalties. But when you win by that much, you still want to bring it up in the team meeting, but, you don't want to be too Debbie Downer about it because you still managed to win the football game. And that's a sign of a good team, I think, to overcome something like that because that could set you back and end your drives, and then you give Navy the ball. But that didn't happen, obviously. And even when Navy got the ball, they would probably fumbled it again anyway. Pretty disappointing to watch. I was really excited for an upset. Would have been great. In the Meadowlands, would have been a great game. And it wasn't a great game. In this next game,
I really don't want to talk.
It was a great game for about one half.
Can I get my hatred out the way real quick? Just a quick second. I'll let you cook.
Yeah.
Let me just get my quick hates right the way. So after a great first half, I think it was a really, really good first half. What do you say to your team to then proceed to give up? Let me get the exact number. I have the exact number in my phone right here. Let me find it real quick. To give up 31 points to 6 other points.
Exactly.
People are screaming. I agree. What the?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
That was me.
That
was me watching Lamar Jackson.
Oh my gosh. You outperform them in total.
It's an option. Why have we never seen a read option before? That's all he does.
6 carries.
That is all he does.
No, sorry, 9 carries, 62 yards, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
He had 100 passing yards a game in the games he started. He's not going to pass the ball. And then on the one play you let him pass, it's a coverage bust for like 70 yards. And then you make him look good. He's not good.
We had Connor Wayman.
Stop the option.
We had Connor Wayman in shambles. In freaking shambles.
He sucks. He's terrible.
And of course you have Le'Veon Moss. Wrong one. I'm sorry. More like
I didn't know the difference.
I honestly didn't know the difference either. 14 carries and 83 yards. 2 touchdowns. Cooked us.
He was sick, apparently.
And then, of course, you have Amari Daniels. Frick, who is that guy? I don't know. 12 carries, 91 yards. all over us. Like, they just ran the ball down our throat, and we liked it. We loved it. We want to give it some more. We wanted more of it.
Well, yeah, we obviously wanted more.
And then Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, you're an NFL quarterback when you want to be. Okay. 405 yards. Let's look at the pod. 405 yards, 2 touchdowns. But you're throwing the ball 50 times this game. 25 carries, 3 interceptions. We're up by 10 points at half. Just run the ball. You see Caden Durham. He one of the fastest guys in the NFL. One of the fastest guys in the NFL in my eyes. 11 carries.
College football.
Sorry, that's what I meant. College football. 11 carries, 15 yards. Just give it to him on the outside and let him run.
We just couldn't
go.
We had no push. It was the USC game all over again. We had no push.
At least we had freaking Kyron Lacey and Aaron Anderson going for absolutely stupid. Chris Hilton came back from an injury. I didn't know he was there, to be honest with you.
He sucks. He's bad. He can't catch.
Two receptions for 26 yards. CJ Daniels apparently
he missed time just jumps like 3 times.
Apparently CJ Daniels transferred here from Liberty. I didn't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. Apparently we had a 5-star tight end named Tradez Green. Did you know who that was? I didn't after this game. At least we have Mason Taylor. I like that dude. Defense.
He didn't do anything.
What happened to Whit Weeks? What happened to that guy a few weeks ago? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He was non-existent. We have a guy named fucking Braden Swanson. Dog. Absolute dog of a guy. I mean,
I'm going to mention him later at some point. You'll see.
I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know what else to say. Sage Ryan, 6 tackles. Congratulations. You can't cover a thing. You can't cover a car with a car cover on it. Plain and simple.
He's going to be selling cars.
Like, you can hit somebody. Cool. I can too. Like, frick. Major burns. Yeah, you just got burned all over pretty much. Majorly. Pun intended. You know what? It's just, this team sucks. I'm terrible at this, apparently. LSU makes me want to cry myself to sleep every single night. We're going to get cooked in the Alabama game. We're going to lose by at least, I give about 49 on a good day. Okay. Plain and simple, I think we're going to see Midrow is going to turn into like an NFL quarterback, and he's going to go back in Heisman contention.
What happened last year?
I think he'll throw for about 600 yards. I think about 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and rush for about another 500. And I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to be like, I love it. This is what's supposed to happen. I knew this was going to happen, and it's not my problem. Plain and simple. I don't want to say it. I'm done. I'm cooked. I hate my life. I might just go jump on one.
Yeah. Nuss and the defense lost this game. No question about it. Can't run the ball. The Texas A&M defense, all they have is a good D line. So we kind of knew that. Their secondary sucks unless you throw it to them 3 times. Then they start celebrating, and it gets really annoying. And they play Mo Bamba about 103 times, I believe, this game. It's pretty annoying. It's like I was playing college football, 25. That's the only song they play. It's the coaching, and we've seen this before. Saw this last year. We saw this against USC. Coaching issues are here once again. Embarrassing loss when you know you're the better team, and you lose anyway in that fashion. Look, we all, Texas A&M fans, if you go on their Reddit, they're probably really delusional right now. Think they're going to win something for the first time since 1939. They aren't. We realize that Texas A&M is, maybe they have a good regular season every now and then, but they're going to be 8-4 perennially. And we realize that Marcel Reed isn't going to play a defense this bad for the rest of the season. They'll make the playoffs and disappoint. We understand this. For us, the season's over. Playoffs way out of not even in the ballpark anymore.
Yeah.
Beating Alabama, that's not going to do anything. Can't lose to a backup quarterback in this way. And then also have the USC loss, which just gets worse every week. So the season's over, but it's just frustrating. Makes me want to throw something, and I did during the game.
I threw a chair.
We exposed Connor Weigman, and that felt good. So I'll give us that.
I would agree.
He sucks. He's bad.
But yeah. Okay, so now get the hatred out the way for a second. We are still technically in college football playoffs. We just got to beat Alabama and win out from there, and a few other things got to go right. But we're not gonna win. We're not gonna beat them. So what's the point? Just screw me, I guess. Pay me over. Put things in my mouth that I don't want, and we're just calling it a day. That's pretty much what happened, and I enjoyed it. That second half, plain simple. So just to recap college football. This week's actually low-key was mid. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm already missing LSU football, even though how much I hate it. I already miss it. I don't know what I'm gonna do this weekend. Might just sit there on my bed and cry myself to sleep every night, knowing I don't have LSU football to watch and make myself feel better about my life, or worse. I don't really know. But deep down, I know they suck. I suck. Saints suck. But we'll get to that in just a second. So speaking of Saints, let's go to NFL. This week was very good. I think it's probably one of the best weeks we had all year. We're going to talk about the best one. It's in our title, as you can tell. It's somewhere up in like the caption, I think up here above me. It's that second line. We did not create it. I think Twitter created it, Reddit created it. Cooked. Get that man a raise. But we're going to start right here. A little Thursday night action with this Rams Vikings game. My pick, I feel the Vikings are going to about to be on a downward trend in my eyes. This Vikings team is about to get exposed because now they don't have Christian Darrisaw, and that was probably one of the best tackles in all of college football this past year. And Sam Darnold was pretty much in shambles back there, trying to fight off this Rams defensive pass rush, which isn't that great. Put out there, Jared Versey is coming really, really good. You still got Byron Young, great 2-1-2 punch right there. But that's really about it. You got Kobe Turner as well down there. Kind of forgot about him. Brandon Friske hasn't really done anything as a rookie. Hopefully he does more throughout the year. He just hasn't really played a lot. I didn't really expect him to. But my fantasy king, Kyron Williams, absolute dog. Pretty much gave this Vikings defense been elite all year, led by Brian Flores. The absolute business. The Rams as a whole is back. They are a great team when they have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp with them. Demarcus Robinson was getting both his receptions were touchdowns, and of course, Connor Williams is an absolute dog. One of the, probably a top 5 running back in the league. And so it's just good to see a full strength Rams because I think the league is better that way. To be honest with you, as Vikings, they just Jordan Addison is not really taking the step you need to. He got kind of locked up in this Rams game. You're missing Hawkinson. I think that's a big thing. You're really missing that great tight end that Hawkinson is. Hopefully, you get him back soon. As Sam Darnold does need another safety valve in that sort of aspect, because I wish he can just chunk up to Justin Jefferson all game because he would if he could. Aaron Jones kind of came back down to earth considering all the factors that goes into Aaron Jones. He's older on the older side. He lost a step. Kind of came back down to earth. But as Vikings, you're not really worried. You just ran into a Rams team that finally was full back strength. They're really excited to play with each other. Pause. Ivan Pace had a great game. I love Ivan Pace Jr. He's undrafted free agent a few years back. Harrison Smith kind of turned back the clock this game. And Byron Murphy is an absolute dog in my eyes. So that's all I have to say for this game.
Yeah. This was a great game, though. I think this was one of the better Thursday night games that we've seen for this year. Obviously, the story was the safety at the end. That definitely should have been a face mask. Right in front of the ref, too, when you look at the photo. I just don't know how I missed that call. Do the Vikings go on to win? I don't know if I'd go that far.
Yeah.
But to have as bad of a face mask call miss as that, was really embarrassing for the league, but it's not necessarily anything new. We know the refs have just been getting worse and worse and worse through these past few years, really the decade. But something that did not look worse and looked much better was the Rams offense. Obviously, when you get Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back on the field, good things are going to happen. And when you still have Matt Stafford, who, listen, his stats on the year, not good. Not good. Yeah. But his receivers on the year, not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good. Tutu Atwell.
But, yeah. Hey, Washington football team preseason legend on Madden.
That's fair.
That was a great league. I missed that league. That was good. But yeah, so when you have those two weapons back on the field, this is the Matt Stafford we're going to see for the rest of the year as long as those two guys remain healthy. The run game keeps looking good. Kyron Williams, did he have like an injury concern coming into this week? I feel like he did. That was a couple weeks ago.
He had I know he was limited the Monday practice, but that's really about it. Monday, Tuesday, I think.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're back fully healthy now, and this is what we're going to see, I think, going forward. Now, from the Rams' defense, I was very impressed this game. They had 3 sacks, 6 QB hits. They were getting after Sam Darnold, and I know they lost Darisaw at halftime, like right before halftime, on kind of a meaningless play. He's going to be out for the year. So part of that in the second half, I think they were able to take advantage of that because I don't even know who the backup was that came in for him. So that was a rare good Rams defense performance. Obviously, they're just kind of, particularly in the secondary, not very strong. So I think the defensive line is something they're going to be leaning on. The Rams offense is still lethal. The Vikings offense is obviously still good as well. They had a good game, pretty balanced. They ran the ball well. Aaron Jones has been playing like a top 10 running back this year. He's kind of going under the radar. That was probably one of the best signings, I think, for the offseason. I think the Vikings were very content with that move. But it's the defense, and then also the refs, obviously. But the defense really lost them the game, I think. Not what we've seen out of the Vikings so far this year. This is a little bit disappointing. But again, there's a lot on the Rams offense you got to defend. So not necessarily surprised. I don't know how bought in I was to the Vikings defense or the Vikings as a whole. And I think you could be right. We could be seeing a downward trend coming up. This is the toughest division in football. I don't think it's necessarily a guarantee, certainly not a guarantee anymore that they're going to win this division. I'd have to go with the Lions probably on that pick. And then you also have the Packers, who are also playing much better football and getting back healthy. So the Vikings, yeah, they could be heading on a downward trend. Certainly like this next team in the game we'll be talking about, the Eagles-Bengals. The Bengals are heading on a downward trend. They have been this entire season. They just don't have a defense, man. It's real bad.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to look at. It's hard to watch. I'd rather not watch it. They were actually in this game for a while. Eagles obviously haven't looked perfect this year either, but the Bengals were in this game. The second half, they just got owned. Really weren't close after that point. Didn't have T. Higgins out there today, but I like what I saw from Mike Gesicki, who actually stepped up. Really is the second option. He had 7 for 73 today. Burrow was good, but he had a tipped interception in the fourth. That kind of sealed the game at that point. They were already down. They don't have a good rushing game this year. That's been obviously trade Joe Mixon. That's kind of expected. I think they were expecting more out of Zach Moss and Chase Brown, but they just really haven't got it this year. They just had to pass once they were down in the second half, so they couldn't really run the ball. Wasn't a lot of balance. Average day for their defense. No real resistance. Only forced 1 punt for the Eagles. And on the other side, the Eagles defense really didn't impress me a whole lot either. They're up front. They weren't pressing me. They were getting after Burrow and stuff, but the secondary didn't. They were able to force 3 forced fumbles and a pick, though, but that was the difference in the game. Hurts looked good this game, too. Obviously, Devonta and AJ had no issues getting open. Saquon, no surprise, ran all over him. And the Eagles were just able to blow it open in the second half and get the win.
Yeah. I don't have to speak much during this game. I was playing kickball for philanthropy events, so I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of this early matchup games. Because hey, gotta support the kids. Did hit a home run, so shout out me, I guess. I do remember walking after one of the games. I remember watching the score, and I'm like, oh, Bengals got whooped. Jalen Hurts probably played like a running back. He did. I think Jalen Hurts is mid. I don't care what people say. I think he's a running back more than anything. Saquon's good and all that good jazz. But you pretty much covered most of it. Bengals on a downward trend. But who's already been in that bottom of the trail is I'm going to let Gabe just absolutely cook his favorite team because I know he's been waiting. He had a rough day with it. So I'm going to let you just I'm going to sit back here for a second and just let you cook and look on Twitter for some news. I think I got to vote next week.
A disaster. If there was one word, and it's a lot to ask to sum up this team as bad as they are in one word, that would be the word. Disaster. Front, top to bottom. Disaster. There are no positives with this team. Literally no positives. There is no reason anyone who cares about 3 hours of their Sunday should be watching this team. I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway, unfortunately. I'm going to insert some memes here. They're great. They're all great. This is actually one of my favorite sets of memes that I'm going to have. The worst team remains the worst team. Nothing new. What was new was we actually hung in this game for the first part of the first quarter. We did the old giving me hope maneuver in the first quarter that the Titans like to do. They like to give their fans hope. And then absolutely, I'm going to say it, shit the bed. I mean, absolutely just fall apart. We lost to a quarterback. 12 of 15, Jared Goff. 85 yards, 3 touchdowns, 129.9 rating. Silence. That is the proper reaction. And disappointment. Allowed 5 out of 5 in the red zone. Most of the time they were starting in their own half because we were turning the ball over 4 times this game. They didn't have any, of course, because they're actually a well-run football team and they actually know how to play the sport that they're all being paid to do. We don't know how to do that. This was the worst game I've watched, and I've been a real fan for about 8.5 years. This is the worst game I've watched. And I watched this from the opening kick to the end. For whatever reason, I decided to do that and just leave it on. And just watch how we just keep making, even towards the end of the game, we just keep making mistakes. And it's like, the game's over. Can we just stop making the mistakes? Like, we've already done our part. We're going to lose this game, just like you all wanted. When your coaching staff is this bad. The special teams, they're special. That's for sure. Colt Anderson, I don't know why. I don't know what he is doing every week, practicing to allow Titans legend Khalif Raymond to have a 90-yard return. And this is the first time, this was the longest return that the Lions have had since 2000. 24 years, a 90-yard punt return. And that wasn't it. Every other return, kickoff and punt, they were getting yards. We couldn't cover, but we didn't get any punts blocked, so hallelujah. Praise Colt Anderson. Brian Callahan came out and already said he's not firing him. It's malpractice. It's malpractice. That's what it is. I don't know how you can watch. I know he's a friend from Cincinnati. I don't care. How do you watch this game and not think there's changes that need to be made? It's so frustrating. Punt return yards allowed on the season, 454. That's the most by 152 yards over second place. And we've had an early bye week in week 5. That's how bad this team is. To have that bad of a special teams and think, this is what Callahan said, straight from his press conference. I think Colt's a good football coach. Yeah, in what way? What do you mean? His job is the special teams, and we're this bad. We've been the worst the entire season from week 1 to what are we in? Week 8? Week 8? The change should have been made already. The change should have been made weeks ago. When we started the season, guess what? We got punts blocked in the first 2 games. I mean, I thought it couldn't get worse from last year on special teams. And it has. It's gotten way worse. We just have this insatiable talent to allow teams to set records every game that we play. Or we let rookies score their first touchdowns. The 5 different Lions scored in one half. That's the first time in their franchise's history. And this is an old team. This is not a new team like we are. This is an old team. And they're out here setting records. That is how bad we are. Every week, you can expect the opposing team to set several records. That is how bad this team is. Goodness gracious. I mean, I had to turn it off for like 2 drives. I guess I lied earlier. I had to turn it off for 2 drives just to get a little break to work on my family sociology paper about sexuality. That is how bad it got. I had to turn it off because I was like, you know what? I'd actually rather write about this right now. It's a complete train wreck. There's no positives. There's nothing good you get out of watching this team. It's a full fire sale. I just want everybody gone. There's nothing. I don't care anymore. Oh my gosh. And then, you're not like, the Titans fans out there who listen will get this. This is something that Mike Vrabel said in all of his post-game conferences while he was our coach. Got to play better, got to coach better. Yeah, great talk. Great talk. That's every time we lose, that's what Vrabel would say. And then Callahan comes out, not knowing that this is a thing, and says that exact phrase. It's just... The only thing that you guys should be entertained for is this upcoming segment, and that's Titans reactions.
Yes! My favorite.
This is a fan favorite segment right here.
Right now for this.
So let's get right into it. RBT, one of my favorite YouTubers. Jacob has some past experiences about watching him. A known Titans fan. unknown and South Alabama fan. Um, this was his tweet, I believe, right as the game started. Went to church, going to eat, not even rushing to get back home to watch the Titans game. This is a big development for me personally. And I strive to be at that point where I just don't care. I just go about my Sunday and use these hours for anything more useful. And this is one I pulled from Instagram. This is really relatable to me, even though I was not a fan for this long. Why did I choose to be a fan of this team when I was 5? And honestly, that doesn't really resonate with me because I only started 8.5 years ago. But why did I choose this team? I really gotta sit down and analyze why I wanted to put myself through this for 8 years. To watch this team, if you can call it that. This was one of my favorites. I got 2 more here, 3 more, I think. I wish a real life lion would break into my house and maul me right now. Special teams and play calling are infuriating. That is exactly how I felt. I would have rather a real lion come into my bedroom and absolutely tear me to shreds and have me as a meal than watch this team. Like, let's get into the last one here. I'm actually going to skip over one. Just shot my 4K Ultra HD TV with my 12 gauge in front of my wife and kids. That is exactly what I wish I could have done to the television watching this team. The first pick should be ours to lose. We have a must-lose game coming up this next week versus the Patriots. Warning, do not watch that game. That is the worst game of the season so far. You have no reason to watch it or to care about it at all. And we can go ahead and move on to whatever else we have to talk about.
So yeah, Gabe, the Titans suck. During your whole entire segment, I ate 4 things of Pringle cans. I'm pretty proud of myself. Actually, I finished 2 because they were this one was kind of stale, so I left a few in there. So shout out you, I guess. Titans suck. No way about it. But who does not suck apparently is Jameis Winston. The Jameis Winston effect was full display down in Cleveland, Ohio for that Ravens-Brown game. I think when I've watched Jameis Winston, I think of a ticking time bomb. He's always due for a turnover, a crazy turnover. He almost had 5 in this game. I kind of went back. He probably almost had 5. He should have 5 or 6 interceptions this game. I'm going to keep it a buck. But the Ravens defenders can't. Like, Kyle Hamilton dropped at least 2 interceptions that went right to his hands. And, of course, the Ravens wide receivers can't catch worth of leg split. Like, Rashad Bateman, on that catch, go Lord Chinese, buddy.
Nope.
Go do something with your life. Like, I love you. You had a good bounce back year from, like, injuries past few years. I thought it was really high on you coming out Iowa State. Boise State.
Boise State, I believe.
We're looking it up for you while I'm talking. I was always.
Oh wait, no. Hold on.
Tennessee, no.
Tennessee.
Rashawn Bateman. Really? No, that's
Cedric
Tennessee.
Tillman.
No,
I thought we were talking about Cedric Tillman.
Rashawn Bateman. I want to say it's Iowa State. Minnesota. I knew it was one of those teams.
Oh, it was Minnesota.
But yeah, Rashawn Bateman, I was really happy coming out of Minnesota. I thought you were a great prospect, and you haven't really showed it this past few years, but you really finally showed up this year while you were a second-round pick or first-round pick. I can't remember off the top of my head. Zay Flowers is a dog, plain and simple. And, of course, the Ravens just traded for Deontay Johnson. I think he's an all-pro, an all-star wide receiver when you're not getting thrown to by Kenny Pickett and Bryce Young. Kenny Pickett and Bryce Young. I think I'll
remember.
Look. He was with Big Ben. Big Ben. Yeah, that was in our year with no touchdowns. I remember that. But so when you like think about it, I think I might be wrong. I might be a casual, but I think Lamar Jackson is better than both those two combined. I might be wrong. That just might be a little crazy to say, but I think they are. And so they just add another pass catcher as they really need to. Poor my Zay Flowers fantasy team, my Zay Flowers fantasy league is cooked. I'm cooked. The only big thing that I still have to worry about with the Ravens is their defense, as their offense can't really control that. The defense is not the greatest. Their pass defense is one of the worst in the league. But everything else about the defense is great, is good. I think they're still a top 10 defensive league. They got to work on the pass game a lot. For the Browns, I thank you. I can finally talk about the Browns for once without wanting to absolutely kill myself. Jameis Winston was full effect, 334 yards, 3 pass touchdowns, almost turned the ball over about 14 times. Cedric Tillman, absolute dog. Always have been my dog. Always liked him coming out of Tennessee. I knew that one. David Njoku is a scary, scary man. Whenever that man talks, I listen. I will bow down to that man. It was National Talent Day, so that's something I will recap at the end. Elijah Moore finally did something for his life. Jerry Jeudy was there. Nick Chubb still coming off injury. It's a little rusty to start the year, but I think he's still pretty good. The defense, unfortunately, Denzel Ward suffered his 6th concussion, his second one this year. So hopefully they don't really really like cautious about this one, as he needs to be cautious himself. Myles Garrett, I want to point this one out. Myles Garrett, where have you been this game? I'm now recording here. He had 1 QB hit. Wow. Nice job. Attaboy. Cool. You're still my absolute king. I love you.
Good.
But Browns, thank you for having a good game. I was finally able to talk about you. I hate watching you when freaking Diddy as your quarterback. But yeah. You have anything else to say before I go have some fun? All right, good. My turn. All right, so ball up top. I'm about to absolute ISO and cook these people. So I'm always notorious of hating my favorite teams in general. My fault. Saturday, Sunday was a long day. Saturday, LSU get absolutely cooked, roasting them already. We're good.
Amen, brother.
We made it up. I still love them. Now it's Saints. So I expected them to lose this game. I'm not gonna lie. But I knew Spencer Rattler wasn't the future after last game. I think we could put that away. And I think this game solidified it. I watched this game. I just got done playing kickball. I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. But I'm staying up to watch my favorite team I grew up with, team I've been watching since I was like 6 years old. And I see we're healthy, and I kind of semi-healthy. All we're really missing is Derek Carr. Taysom Hill's back. Cesar Reed's back. Lucas Patrick is back. Colt McCoy's back. And then I see the monstrosity what's occurred. Spencer Rattler, 12 for 24, 156 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. They bench him. Well deserved. I understand. And then you bring in whatever one glove monstrosity Jake Hayner is. 9 for 17, 122 yards. He went through his progressions, unlike Rattler does. But he does it. He's like, oh, I can't go there. Oh, I can't go there either. Uh-oh, there's a person. Oh, and dies. I mean, he sits in the pocket for so long. Thank God we have Alvin Kamara. Like, frick, we wouldn't do anything in life if we didn't have Alvin Kamara in life. Bub Means had a really cool 36-yard catch that dang near made me cry in life. Chris Olave finally got over 100 yards for the season. Taysom Hill is my dog. I love you. But now it's time to start hating. All right, Lyle McConkey. What you did to Alontae Taylor should be a hate crime of anything else. Lyle McConkey plays football the right way. That's the man I want to take my daughter out, and I don't care what he does. I trust that man with my life. Lyle McConkey is the first one in, last one out. He is a pro IQ of the football game. And what he did to Alontae Taylor is a hate crime. That dude mossed Alontae, took it to the tutty for a touchdown, and then proceeded to absolutely drag his nuts in the back of the end zone for another touchdown. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I mean, I knew he was good, but like, why did you have to have a breakout game versus the freaking Saints? I just want to cheer for you, but now I'm sitting here on my beanbag chair, wanting to jump out my window, knowing I have a 2.5-hour meeting after this. And then freaking J.K. Dobbins, I love J.K. Dobbins. Had a touchdown, 17 carries. I mean, we stopped him kind of, but for Jalen Reagor, we made Jalen Reagor look like Randy Moss for like a play. This dude caught the most insane catch I've ever seen. A freaking Scott Matlock looked like Travis Hunter playing both sides of the freaking football. Dicker the kicker is a dog. I mean, we got a safety. Congratulations, guys. We got a safety. Matt Grupe cannot kick a field goal to save his life. He makes 2 others, but he can't kick one. What else can I hate on? I hate my life. I hate this team. Oh yeah, freaking Dennis Allen. I hate Dennis Allen. I hate him as a head coach. This dude does drive nothing for a culture. He's a great defensive coordinator. One of the best defensive coordinators that he would be one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. He will help anybody, any team. And he's just not a leader. We saw that in Denver, I think when he first tried, or in Oakland at the time for the Raiders. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's just bring me back to the first 2 weeks of the NFL season when I sat there happy. I was the happiest man alive, and I was just swaying back and forth, kicking my feet around. We dropped 40 back-to-back weeks. The last time this happened, we went to the Super Bowl, and now we're 2-6, and I wanted to jump out my window. Like, frick. Just give me a quarterback. That's all I want. Give me a quarterback in this draft. I want to know who. I think these quarterbacks are looking kind of mid. Man, just get me away from this team league, man. I just want to go home. I want a good. Derek Carr's back next week. We play the Panthers next week. Hopefully, we drop 50 on their head. If we lose, let's just say I will not be on the episode next weekend. If I won't be, I will. It'll be a late recording anyway because I go vote. But like, still, I just want to. I just want to sleep. I want to sleep at night knowing that the freaking Saints won another game. They dropped this 6-game losing streak. I don't know, man. We're gonna move on. And so now I can breathe for a second. No, because it's time to actually have some fun. Bears Commanders was a terrible game up until the final play. The score was 15-12 going to the final play. And then the Commanders decided to do whatever they did. Caleb Williams got absolutely worked. Jane Daniels proved he's going to be Rookie of the Year this year. And it's just my heart's so happy because Jane Daniels will be the number 1 overall pick in every other year outside of the 2020 draft and this draft in the past couple of years. it's just it. Oh, just seeing that Hail Mary get caught by Noah Brown put so much a smile on my face. It's just chef's kiss. But the moments leading up to that catch, the seconds before, Tyreek Stevenson, number 29 for the Bears as their cornerback, is chirping at fans in the back right-ish end zone about how they're about to lose the game, about how they suck, about how they just lost to the Bears. And he runs over. He's like, oh, crap, they're running a play. He runs over, like, frolicking, like, in a field of daisies, and tries to jump up. He's the one who hits the ball into Noah Brown's hands. Karma at his finest. As JoJo Siwa says, karma is a B word. Should have known better. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to speak too much about this game. Commanders didn't play that great either. I'm going to be keeping a buck. Their defense let DeAndre Swift absolutely cook them. But that's really about it. That's DeAndre Swift. But this Washington offense was on point. Jay Daniels wasn't the most efficient in the world. They couldn't really get a run game going. Brian Robinson only had 65 yards. Eckler had 52 yards with 7 carries. But I mean, it was still Andy freaking what's his name? Austin Siebert is a dog. 4 for 5. I wish he made that 5th one. That would help my fantasy team. Like none, but I mean, it would have worked. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this game.
Yeah. Commanders, they had the yards. We kind of said they had a successful offensive day, but they were 0-3 in the red zone. And I think that was kind of why the point total really didn't get too high at all until, especially Jaden Daniels. A lot of his yards came at the Hail Mary, but he was playing through an injury, and I thought he still looked good. Wasn't perfect, but got his yards and got the win. The next game wasn't very entertaining. The Sunday night game.
I wouldn't know.
I'm tired of watching the Cowboys in prime time, and especially the Niners. They're not very good either at the moment because they're just dealing with a lot of injuries. But they were able to get the win against the Cowboys. This was a close game till at half, and then the Cowboys got rolled in the third quarter, 21-0, and the game was pretty much over, even though they had a little Mickey Mouse comeback in the fourth, but really didn't end up winning them the game. 2 interceptions by Dak that stalled 2 of the drives in this game. The one in the third quarter led to a Niners touchdown, part of the 21-0 run that the Niners had. The Saints, it kind of looked like the Saints defending George Kittle out there. He had a huge game, 6 for 128 and a touchdown. Horrible rush defense of the Cowboys as it's been all year. Isaac Guerrero had a legacy game, 14 for 85, 6 a carry. In total, the Niners had 223 total rushing yards this game. The Niners defense, this was kind of like a vintage Niners defense game, even if the Cowboys offense isn't good. 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. They had 8 QB hits, and they forced 2 fumbles. Just the Cowboys, it's like CD, who had a legacy game, 13 for 146, 2 touchdowns. Everybody else didn't do jack diddly squat in this game. They just don't have a rush game. The 2 interceptions by Dak, terrible on third downs this game. They just don't have anything to get excited about on offense outside of CeeDee Lamb. And then the Niners, good win for the Niners, who are still trying to prove that they can still win, even being down the guys that they are. So it was a good win for them.
I agree. Like I said, I was getting absolutely worked in the meeting. But from what I do, I was able to sneak away and watch. I put my phone down below. Brock Purdy actually looked like a capable quarterback. Like this past few weeks been rough for him. He's been getting exposed as the quarterback that we kind of all thought he was. He is a maker of a system, but at times he's not. It's just a big old ordeal. But this game kind of proved that he is not just a system. system quarterback. I think he's a little above it. I don't think he's elite by any means. I think he's a star in the league, but I don't think he's an elite player in the league. George Kittle, National Tight End Day, is the scariest person I've ever met in my life. A backup running back on the 49ers is also pretty scary. Jordan Mason did sell my parlay, so boo. But Dallas as it's a wash season at this point. It's bad. You have no running backs. Rico Dowdle was out this game. Even though he's not a game changer of a running back, he can help a lot better than Zeke and Dalvin Cook. Now, if this was 3 years ago, I will be more scared. But in the year 2024, my boots are not shaking. My boots are exactly where they're going to be at all times, on my feet. You definitely need a wide receiver too, as a Cowboys. You thought Brandon Cook can come in and kind of do that, but he's been injured. You're pretty much asking CeeDee Lamb to do what he did, and obviously he's a top 3 wide receiver in the league. I trust him with my life. 13 receptions, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was cooking whoever was on him. I think it was Javarius Ward, if I'm not mistaken. But Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin are not really wide receiver 2s in the league. I don't think Brandon Cook is even a wide receiver 2 in the league anymore. If I was Dallas, I really would have traded for a wide receiver like Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, someone like that. You need, honestly. Jake Ferguson, usually you're always a pretty good tight end. You sucked this game. You got 6 receptions, but you couldn't really make them in anything. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to move on to this last and final game. It's going to be a quick game because there's really nothing to talk about in this Steelers. Frick, I lost it. Hold up. Find it real quick. Give me a second. This Giant Steelers game. Very, very brief moment. Pretty much what happened. Just really quick. Brian Dable is not that great of a play caller, per se. I don't know what that 2-point conversion play was. That was the worst play in all ML history. Takes the cake right then and there. Over that Colts play that happened, God knows, when Pat McAfee was still playing. I don't know what the hell that was still. But that if they would have blocked, it would have worked. But the linemen and neighbors just stood there. It was a distraction. I mean, they're supposed to dance, like do the head top or something. I couldn't tell you. Daniel Jones is terrible. Get that man out of New York. I feel like he's gonna throw a ball. I think he's gonna throw a ball at the building and make it go down. If you know what I mean. I mean, it's plain and simple. He sucks. Tyler Tracy, absolute dog. We need to have a conversation about him eventually. It's actually time to have a discussion about him. I think he's an absolute dog. Starting the league. But yeah, Malik Neighbors has drop problems. I think it's been there. He hit it very well at LSU, kind of here and there, but that's okay. He's still a absolute dog, probably top 15 wide receiver in the league, and so yeah. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, let's go into college football for next week. Little record update. I'm sitting at 19-15 college football pick'ems. Jacob is at 18-16, so it's competitive.
We suck.
Neither of us are doing very good at all.
We suck.
It's very disappointing.
I'm not good anywhere, honestly.
This first game. This is a week where we can make up some ground. We have a little bit of a different picks this week, so
I can see that.
We'll see if any of the ground can be made up by either of us.
Yeah, probably.
Lose ground. That's probably what's going to happen.
Honestly, we're all just going to suck.
This first game.
So this first game is number 4 Ohio State going at number 3 Penn State. It's not at home. Man, sorry, no, it's not at night, which is sad. they've really messed up with that one. A night game at Penn State is cinema is one of the hardest places to play in all of college football. And just in that alone, since it's not night game, I'm taking Ohio State in this game. I don't want to do it because I think Penn State can pull it out. Pause. But I think Penn State just looked really shaky this year. Really shaky. With playing USC, they did not look great in that first half versus Wisconsin last week. It's just something about this Penn State team. I think they're good. I just don't think they're good enough to be a team like Ohio State, like Oregon. But I think if I am Penn State, you have the home field advantage, which is the most important part in all of college football. You have one of the best running back duos in Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. Drew Aller still looks like a top quarterback. He does not turn the ball over. Tyler Warren is still one of the best tight ends. But on Ohio State side, you have Will Howard, who has looked really good this year. 17 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Jeremiah Smith, the best freshman in all of college football, no doubt in my mind. The best running back duo in Quayshawn Junkins and Travion Henderson. Now, Emeka Abuka, my fault, Abuka, there we go, has not looked great this year, but he's still reliable as a wide receiver too. I wish I could get Brandon Ennis more into this offense. I really love Brandon Ennis, but it's just too crowded of a thing. But I just, even though Penn State's defense is better than Ohio State's defense, by a long shot, honestly, I just think Ohio State's offense is going to do just enough to beat Penn State's offense.
Yeah, I think a lot of similar viewpoints over here. I think Ohio State was in a close game with Nebraska, like very close game, like down to the wire last week. Part of that was the rushing game for Nebraska had a lot of success. So that does worry me when you obviously realize that Penn State's running back duo is much better than what Nebraska has to offer. That does worry me. But and in all fairness, I probably would have picked Penn State if it was a night game. And then also having the two running backs, I'm a little bit worried about Ohio State being able to defend that. But I'm going to take Ohio State. I think they're not going to let that Nebraska win get in their head. They realize this is a big win that they need to get. Aller, he's had kind of a rough 2-week stretch. Hasn't been playing his best football. Couple games removed from that 3-interception disaster against USC. But before that, he was playing very good. If he plays like he has most of this year.
Have here is Arkansas game. As I say, Arkansas is weird because I hate them. So Ole Miss is a weird team per se. They played rough against Oklahoma. I'm not gonna lie, it was not that great of a game. Jackson Dart does not look the greatest. He looked good. I'm not gonna lie. He has yards, looked good. I just, for the talent that he has around him, he isn't making the most of it. He has one of the better tight ends in the league with Preexcorn, and it's just. But in all, I just don't like Arkansas. Plain and simple. And me being a hater, I understand. I'm sorry, not really. I think Ole Miss goes into Arkansas, goes into Fayetteville, and they take the win here. It's going to be a close game. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Ole Miss takes it.
Yeah, I'll go with Arkansas here. I think they've had an upset in them in the past, and they beat Tennessee. I think it's possible they can do it again. Part part of the things I think they pride their defense on is limiting the big plays. Something they stopped Tennessee from doing, and even the LSU game, we didn't have a lot of big plays. So I think if they can stop focusing on Trey Harris, don't let anything downfield, get out of control, limit the big plays for Ole Miss. I think they'll be able to have a chance to win this game. Lean on the run game, the options with your quarterback, and then the Jaquindon Jackson and Braden Russell backfield. Taylor Green has to take care of the football, find Andrew Armstrong in the intermediate. That's his number one target. I haven't been too impressed by the Ole Miss offense recently. Their run game's kind of stalled out the past couple games. I just think Arkansas, especially, I believe this is
Yes, it is
at Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't actually write it down.
It is.
Let me go fact check. Okay, it is. Okay. Yeah. I think they're going to have a good chance in this game. I do think it's going to be close, though. And this next game is very interesting to one to talk about. We haven't talked, I don't think, any about Duke football this year, but they're a very good team. They have a very good record. And I think we're both – I made the graphic. I know we're both taking Duke in this game. I think we have probably similar reasons.
Yeah.
We probably have similar reasons. I think sometimes we realize that Cam Ward makes some questionable decisions. I saw it against Cal a few weeks ago, but Cal did not have a good offense. Duke does have a pretty good offense, even if it isn't electric. But I think their defense averages 2 takeaways a game. If I'm not mistaken, 2 takeaways a game. I think they're susceptible on the run game. Damian Martinez could get going. They're going to look to stop him and make them pass the ball.
Yeah.
And hopefully Cam Ward makes some mistakes.
I'm kind of the same way. I really like Malik Murphy. I love Malik Murphy. I loved him at Texas. I think he is a good quarterback with not a lot of talent around him. He makes him good. Star Thomas is a great running back. One of the above average ones in the league. Just I really did draw on this, but I think it's due. Miami's been in such close games the past few games. Duke is coming off a heartbreaker with SMU. They like to keep games close. They're 3-2 the last 5 games, which it does worry me. But it's just something about this Duke team. I think they're gonna play enough to really give this Miami team trouble, and it's just gonna happen. I think they're gonna pull up off the upset, coming off a heartbreaker. With SMU in overtime last week. Let's just see. It might bounce back, but Miami also is coming off a not so great last 3 games. 4 games actually. They beat Virginia Tech by 4 scores, made 4 points, beat Cal by 8 points, beat Louisville by 7 points. Did not play great versus Florida State. Did not play like they're that number 5 seed they should be. But if you look at the earlier games, they whooped USF by a lot, by 35. Beat Ball State by 62. I mean, that's supposed to happen. It's just going to come down. Because Duke's going to play gritty. Duke's going to play good defense like they always have all year. Where you're facing a Miami offense who's putting up 46 points per game, number 1 in the league, number 1 in college football. It's just if how's Duke's offense going to play? They've been good, not been great, not been electrifying, but they have been good. And so my reason I'm going to take Duke, even at Miami. It's still an 11 o'clock game, so it's early morning, so it's not nighttime. Miami's going to be flying around. It's going to happen. It's just how they're going to play. And I'm going to do this next game here. Another interesting game. It's Louisville going at number 11 in Clemson. We have to be really creative with these week's games because there wasn't that many ranked I think there's only 1 ranked matchup. 2 ranked matchups, my fault. And freaking Oklahoma's playing Maine and going into November. Okay, cool, I guess. Whatever you say. But Um, I've always been really high on Louisville. It's just this. I think Clemson has been on a absolute tear this past few weeks. Um, ever since that Georgia game, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Ever since that Georgia game, they've been on a tear, beating everybody pretty much in their path, trying to get back to where they were and to really silence everything. Like last week against Virginia, they beat them by 17. They beat Wake Forest by 35. The Florida State game, not going to talk about that much. They only beat them by 16, but it's still pretty good. Stanford by 4 scores. NC State by 3 scores. Appalachian State by 40. And I think this will be a true test. This is really the best team they played since Georgia is Louisville. Tyler Show, great quarterback. Jakari Brooks, great wide receiver. Isaac Brown, great running back. But of course, with Clemson, you still have Cade Klubnik, who's really coming to his own this year. Breakout season, 1,800 yards, 20 pass touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You got Phil Maffa, Antonio Williams. I think all in all, I think this is where Clemson really has a dominant showing over Louisville, who has struggled with the better teams and really struggled last week against Boston College. And so, yeah.
Yeah, Louisville's in their big games, they really struggle with turnover issues. You think of the SMU game, Miami, and Clemson averages almost 2 takeaways a game, I believe. So that's something that has really cost them those big games that really could have moved them upwards of the teens in the ranking if they had won a couple of those big matchups where they were so close to getting, but just had untimely turnovers. I think it could happen again here, and it's at Clemson. It's a tough environment to go into. Even the SMU game and the Miami game, those were home games, and they still managed to lose them. So this is going to be a tough, tough environment to go into. Cade Klubnik's been playing much better for Clemson since the opener. We all know how the opener went. It was an absolute disaster. Not good, real bad. Turn it off soon. And then Will Shipley was a guy I think we both liked, and they lost him. And Phil Maffa has come in and stepped up as the RB1 this year. I think he's playing pretty good. I think the way Klubnik's playing and the way Louisville has not played well in big games, I think this is going to be a Clemson win.
I'm excited.
This next game, another 2 teams we haven't talked a whole lot about. Pitt going to SMU.
Okay.
I'm going to take a Pitt in this game.
I'm going to take SMU. So SMU, I think, is the better talented team. They just had that loss versus BYU. They're number 9 in the country, where Pitt hasn't really played anybody. Like last week's showing, I'm not gonna lie. Last week versus Syracuse, dominant, beautiful. But that's really the best team you're playing. I'm not really moved. They kept it close. West Virginia kept it close on them. And West Virginia's not. The record shows that a better team. I think they're a better team than the record shows. My fault. Let's put it that way. But that Cal game only beat them by 2. Cal kept a lot of teams close this year. They only lost because the Cal kicker missed a 40-yard field goal to lose. End up losing the game. But if you really think of Pitt, you're thinking of last week when they put freaking Kyle McCord into whatever the hell he was doing. He was seeing ghosts out there. 5 interceptions, 3 of them being Pitt's pick sixes. But if with SMU plays a lot more conservative than Syracuse does. They got Brashard Smith, 914 yards of the year. He has 10 scores. Kevin Jennings also is a more conservative quarterback. He last game does not show it. He had 3 interceptions last game versus Duke. But he'd much rather run the ball and that's where Pitt has struggled because quarterbacks have run the ball. It's just. I think I'm gonna take SMU. It's gonna be a close game. Eli Holstein's gonna get his way. I think both offenses are gonna get their way. It's how they're both gonna respond.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. It should be a good one. Yeah. SMU have played well this year. Big win over Duke last week. That was a big win for them. Kind of got diced up by Malik Murphy, but we'll overlook it. Although Eli Holstein's playing some really good football this year. I think they could give up some big plays. We saw it in the game against Louisville, which was their best win on the season. Louisville was able to get some big plays, and that's a high-powered offense. Not to say Pitt is, but the way Eli Holstein's playing, surprisingly, it gives you some confidence for Pitt going into this game. Desmond Reed is also a guy we've talked about before, Pitt's running back. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for them. But
I agree.
The spread of receivers that Pitt has, it's not one guy. They have a couple guys. I think actually really a trio. The stats are all pretty even for them. They like to spread the ball around. They like to run the ball with Reed, obviously. Holstein's playing responsible on the year. He's not, Heisman candidate crazy. Never seen it before. But, 17-5, you take that ratio as a quarterback. So the 2 turnovers for SMU and then the big plays they gave up in the Louisville game, I think it could happen again.
Yeah.
Or they give up some big plays. Although I really like Kevin Jennings, who talked about it. It's good. They're just going to keep SMU in this game. This ability to run the ball and pass the ball.
College football. I'm already missing LSU football. This week's gonna suck watching, but I'm actually really excited for a couple of these games. I'll actually be drinking water. I think I've wasted my water intake for the past Saturday. We move. So now going into NFL pick'ems, I hate this. This thing sucks. One of my viewers, Hay McDowell, shout out him. He doesn't want to be a feature on the podcast. Maybe we'll get him on soon. So if you're listening right now, I made this episode. Screw you. You got a nice truck. But he went 10 and something. He won 10 games. He won 8 games last week. Last weekend. So shout out him. If you follow us and want to do this with us, we're glad I let you. We suck at this, so I would love advice. I go off vibes and vibes only. Gabe is apparently better than 2018 LeBron. So
doing excellent,
me, I guess. But the record right now, Gabe is 79-43. And we might have a trophy or something after this. We don't know yet. Now, what we're doing after football season, we're cooked. Football is our content right now. Okay, we do have basketball. And baseball.
Yeah,
we're gonna get
basketball
back into baseball, I believe. Yeah, there's baseball in the spring. Don't worry. And then
in the spring.
Oh yeah, I trust. And
spring training.
Oh yeah, we're cooked. But yeah, so whatever. So Gabe, I have a record of 68-54. Gabe is ahead by 11 picks technically, and first place of a present. We don't really know yet. Probably it's just some made up war that we're going to think of. This week sucks. Oh my gosh, this week is absolutely terrible. Yeah. We have 2 holy ass alerts. Nice say, Jacob. Yep. First is the first Thursday night football game. We have to talk about it, unfortunately. It's a prime time game. It's the Texans at Jets. I'm taking the upset. It's due. They're due. The Jets are due for a win here. And I think this is a good statement win. Texans out Stephon Diggs for the rest of the year. They're out Nico Collins. I think Jets are due. And I pick the Jets. That's fair.
I can't trust the Jets. Anything they're selling right now. Complete fold against the Patriots at the end.
Go ahead.
I'll take the Texans. Yeah. But home game. You never know. Could,
Yeah,
could be a
that's
close
fair.
game, but they'll
And
fold
then
in the end,
so
and the
only
Jets will.
here's alert number one. Uh, by all means, guys. So if you're a fan of football and you turn this game on, go ahead and just unsubscribe from all NFL. Oh, willingly, by the way, willingly. Not like it's the only game on. Like, just subscribe to NFL. Just don't watch it anymore. Um, like this is bad, Gabe. I'll let you have your fun. I'm saying just pick the Titans. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, this is holy ass alert. I have a warning: do not watch by any means, even if every other stadium blows up. You should just not have your TV on at all. It's the 2-6 Patriots coming to Nashville to play the 1-6 Titans. Holy toilet bowl! Just a nasty, ugly game. No reason. There's nothing to be excited. Oh, I can't wait to watch how this matches up versus this. No, it's all bad. Everything's bad. There's nothing good going on. So this is a must-lose game if we want the number one pick. Obviously, this is another team that's in the tank race. We have to lose this game. We just have to. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Titans because we're going to win the stupid games that we don't need to be winning, and screw up our draft order and take a developmental guard who ends up not being that good. Shout out Peter Skronsky. So for that reason, this game's horrible. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the draft because obviously we're terrible. Season's over. Who cares what happens in the games? It's draft time. And last week I went through the kind of the obvious because we'll be a top 2 pick at worst probably. I went through some of the obvious draft picks, but this week I got 5 underrated draft targets for us. And these are guys I think they're going to fit on the team very well. Underrated guys. I don't know how, all of our listeners might not be big draft guys, might not know all the little underrated guys that they need to be watching for their favorite team. That's what I'm here to provide. Although these guys aren't like, 6th round picks or anything. I can go that far. These are probably, you're looking at like 3rd to 4th round guys here, I think is what I'm saying. And the Titans don't have a 3rd round pick because we traded it for Snead. But these are guys, especially a couple of them, I think they could shoot into the late 2nd round. And some of them could be there in the 4th round. So started off, Braden Swinson. I mean, the edge out of LSU. He's a dog. And we don't have any pass rush. We really don't. Edge. We don't have any pass rush. Jeffrey Simmons is mid and injured. Devondre Sweat, he's him, obviously. We don't have to say anything. He's him. Meatball, we love him. Really one of our only bright spots. Harold Landry, it's hard to be good when there's no one else to worry about for the defenses, for the offense to scheme up against and help block. So he's not having as great of a year as he did at the start. But Braden Swinson, this is a guy I think we should be targeting. He's going up draft boards now with the season he's having. He's at 28 tackles, 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. This might be an early 3rd round guy, mid 3rd round. But this is a guy with great finesse. But he's an underrated bull rusher who very often will just collapse the pocket and get to the quarterback. This is somebody we could use. He needs to work on his run defense. I would say this is one thing he needs to work on. But we have no pass rush outside of Landry. And then who the hell knows, he could get traded. I think it's going to happen at some point in the next week or two. Particularly, I think the Lions are the team you need to watch out for Harold Landry. Obviously, the much maligned tackle play that the Titans have on their right side. We obviously need to look at some guys in this draft. And the first guy I want to talk about is a former 5-star. This is Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. This is going to be a later 2nd round, early 3rd round guy. So this could definitely be someone we look at. Could fall to the 4th. It's always possible. We could trade up. You never know. But this is a guy last year was an all Pac-12 selection when the Pac-12 was still kicking. But he was an all Pac-12 selection in 2023. The talent's there. He was a former 5-star, obviously. He plays left tackle right now. But we saw what J.C. Latham did, moving from right tackle to left tackle, what Bill Callahan was able to do. I think we could easily move him to right tackle. Wouldn't be an issue. Not worried about that. That's the guy we need to look at. The next guy is Alec Ayomanor out of Stanford, wide receiver. I've clicked into a couple Stanford games just to watch him. I like what I'm seeing. I like his speed. He's got his route running. He's very good as well. We have no speed at receiver, so this is obviously or youth. So we obviously need to draft 2 or 3 receivers. I would say his separation. This is already a room that doesn't have a lot of separation. His separation isn't great from what I could see. Could improve on that. But he's also dealt with bad QB play at Stanford. Their quarterback play has not been good. That's something we're going to have. So he can put up the numbers with bad quarterback play. That's pretty encouraging. He also hung his nuts on Travis Hunter's head in 2023 when he had 13 catches, 294 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think most of us will remember that game. That was a late night classic, 2023. Next guy I want to talk about, another guy who had a dominant 2023 season, another edge rusher out of Louisville, Ashton Gelati. I think he's been a bit underwhelming this year, for sure. But last year, 15 TFLs, 11 sacks, and he has, I think he had 8. He had 8 and 7 in 2022. So he's just getting better. This year, we're just kind of seeing not as great, but the talent is there. We've seen it before. He has the versatility to play inside or outside, something we could definitely use on our team. He just needs to work on his moves, develop a wider range, I think, of pass rush moves and counters, and work on his bursts. Or more than just his bursts, because that's kind of his go-to move. The next guy I want to talk about, this is somebody Jacob really likes. I think he's the clear-cut tight end one in the class. Harold Fanning Jr. out of Bowling Green State.
I love him.
I think he's the clear tight end one, the way he's playing. He has great route running and quickness for tight end. He looks like a hybrid receiver out there. He's 6'4", 230. So not the biggest guy. Could be an issue at the next level. The blocking's sort of limited in that way by his frame. But he already has 947 yards and 7 touchdowns on the year. He's the motor for their offense. We just need playmakers. We have bigger needs, but if he's there in round 4 somehow, we have to seriously take a look because we just need young playmakers on offense. And that's going to round out top 5 underrated draft targets.
So next game we have here is Cowboys at
we
Falcons.
Can move on. Next game.
Okay, I'm gonna pick the Falcons here. I don't like the Dirty Birds. They're better than the Cowboys, and move on from there. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think the Falcons are going to have any issue passing on the Cowboys. The Cowboys will not be able to run the ball. They'll be one-dimensional, and Dak will probably throw it to Jesse Bates or Justin Simmons a couple times in this game.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I envision things working out. Now, this next game, kind of an underrated matchup. The thing is, offensively, the Broncos are not that good unless they're playing a really bad team. But defensively, the Broncos probably have a top 5 defense right now. I'm interested to see how they play against the Ravens. I will be taking the Ravens. I just think, especially bringing in Deontay Johnson, I think the pass game is going to be very, very much helped by that. And they'll still be able to run the ball with King Henry on the ground.
So I'll take the Ravens here. And I'm going to move on to the next little segment. So, sit down with Saints. We're playing the Panthers. I think, Gabe, you're picking the Saints here, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. We're going to say it there. But Gabe, Derek Carr's back. We're going to hang 50 on their head. I'm very optimistic about the game because I hate the Panthers. I'm so glad they suck. I do like Bryce Young as the quarterback, but I don't care. I don't like them. I hope we go for another 50 ball on their head, like we did the first week of the season. And we always put Bryce Young in shambles. We're going to do it again next week. That's all I'm going to really say for this game. I'm going to keep it a buck. I don't have a lot for it. We're playing a bad team while we are getting kind of fully healthy again. And we're going to move on to pretty much the final 4 games here. Bears at Cardinals. This game is probably didn't talk about too much. I'm going to take Cardinals here. It's just Bears aren't that good. The Cardinals aren't that good, but better. They're frisky but fun, in my eyes. The Cardinals are frisky terrible.
I trust
Not
their
really
offense
good,
more.
but fun.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch. Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison, and so yeah. Who would you agree with that? Well, pretty much, yeah. And then, so now moving to the game of the week. I've been so excited to talk about this game.
Cardinals.
We are so back after a rough 12 a.m. watch. We move on, and Gabe is going to get absolutely whatever the work with his game. I'm going to watch my game and get the work with that game. And then we move on to the 3:15 games. We're sitting there, and we had a rough 12 a.m., and we see the scenic, the cinema, the game of the week, Lions at Packers. We are so back. We are here for it. I'm taking the Lions. I don't love the Packers. I just can't. I don't know why. I think they just turned the ball over a little too much for my liking. Jordan Love is literally Brett Favre 2.0. He played like this at Utah State. I fully expected him to do this. It's nothing wrong with Jordan Love. I don't mind him as a quarterback. I don't think he's worth that money. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. That's just me. It is what it is. But Lions, they're a different breed this year. They're playing fun. They're playing fast. They lose their best player on the whole entire team. The second best player, tied first player of the whole entire on their league. The best edge rusher was supposed to be the defense. That was on track to be defensive player of the year in 800, and they don't lose a beat. The Lions defense still has their past defensive problems, which that's understandable. You have rookies out there really playing younger guys, and that's what Packers love to do. They love to air it out, so maybe that will give them trouble. But I think I'm gonna take the Lions just because the better offense will beat the better offense.
Yeah, I will also be taking the Lions in this game. They're on fire offensively, especially Jared Goff's been playing great the past month or so. Really, the run game's obviously there. You saw, against the Titans, so it doesn't really count. It's basically Ben's Ford, but the schemes that they're running and just how hot they are when they get, especially down in the red zone, it's like almost automatic the way they're playing. They just have so many weapons to get the ball to. Jameson Williams will be out for this game still, so that's a little bit sad. But I don't think there are going to be any issues on offense. Defensively, their run defense is very stout, so I think Josh Jacobs could get stuffed, and then they're going to be forced to throw. The Packers will be. The Lions secondary could give up some yards, but I think Love could also lose them the game with his interceptions, even though I think he'll get his yards and his touchdowns. Agree. So I'll be taking the Lions.
That game is another great game to watch in that little mark. I think this is the 7:20 mark, if I'm not mistaken. I'm lying. It's still 3:15. Rams at Seahawks. I'm gonna take the Rams. I think it depends. Again, it depends what Seahawks team you're playing. I don't know if DK's back for this game or not. We'll know that more towards the end of the week. But I'm gonna take the Rams. I think they're gonna pick up their groove now. Now they got both their top wide receivers out. Their defense is played really good last week. They're going to carry their thing over. Seahawks defense is good, but since Vikings defense had so much trouble last week, I think it's going to carry that over to next week where they play the Seahawks.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I was going to go with the Seahawks. I decided to go with the Rams when I was making the graphic. The Seahawks defense, they kind of had a little Mickey Mouse run at the start of the year. It's over. They've gotten guys back, and they're still not playing well. They got absolutely cooked by the Bills, which is not totally surprising. But I was feeling confident in my Seahawks pick, but I realized their defense isn't that good. The Rams' offense is healthy now. I think it's going to cook. It just played that way against the Vikings. The Rams right now, I think they could go on a run here. So I'll take the Rams.
So now going to Sunday Night Football. So I'm going to take the Colts. Joe Flacco starting at quarterback to bench Anthony Richardson. I saw that coming. I think Vikings come back down to earth. It might be crazy to say. Late 2 should have a good game. I think they Vikings just trained for Cam Robinson. He isn't that good. He had a good 2022 showing, but that's really about it. And I think I'm going to take the Colts. Jonathan Taylor should have a game here. Joe Flacco is going to give your well-needed boost. Now, if you're a Colts fans, you're kind of wanting to lose this game just to get a better pick, but you're not mad if you win, honestly.
I can't trust the Colts defense for sure. It's still ass. It's going to get, they're like Jettis and Addison, they're not going to have any answer. And then if they do get TJ Hawkinson back finally, and not to mention Aaron Jones, who's been playing very good this year, losing Darisaw is obviously going to be a big effect on their offense. But, I mean, Darnold still played well last week. Just had maybe not the start to the season that he hasn't been playing at that level maybe the past few games, but he's still playing very well. I just can't trust the Colts defense. Even the Colts offense, even if Flacco comes in, it's not like they were absolutely perfect, no issues. They were in a close game with the Titans for most of that game. Let's also remember that. Flacco hasn't been great, minus his, I think the first start he got against the Steelers.
That's fair, honestly.
So I'll take the Vikings here.
And I think for this Monday night football game, the Chiefs are due for a loss. But I don't think it's this week. It's going to happen. The Bucs, they're still out with their 2 best wide receivers. They looked good last week. I couldn't tell you if they won or lost. I can't remember off the top of my head. They lost. Okay, that's what I figured. I just want to be sure.
They lost.
They didn't look bad against the Falcons last week. That's what I remember that now. Just they couldn't get a run game going, and I think the Chiefs has one of the best run defenses in the league. It's going to happen. Same thing again. They're Mayfield throw. He threw 50 times last week. He's going to throw a lot of times this week. They're going to get his yards, but you're still out your best 2 wide receivers. I'm going to take Chiefs here, but Chiefs are due for a loss eventually.
Yeah, I kind of agree with all the same points. More involvement from DeAndre Hopkins in the Chiefs offense. I think you're going to be looking for this week. The Bucs secondary is very weak. Baker, the past couple weeks, the interception numbers have been kind of getting up there. But again, you lose your top 2 options. I can't feel too confident in the Bucs. Although I do still like Baker in the way he's playing this year. But I just can't pick against the Chiefs. They're going to be forced to throw the ball a lot against them because the Chiefs' run defense is good. I think they will get the win here.
And so that closes out all
hosting
NFL,
the Bucs
college football. We're going to do one last thing, a little NBA roundup. Gabe had a rough week. Try to limit yourself because we are going way over time. At this point, I'm going to let you tell you. We had 3 internet outages. I don't know what the recording is actually at. Gabe has the actual time recording. I just have 38 minutes from the last. Okay, that's actually not bad. But yeah, it's time for a little NBA
2
roundup.
hours and 25.
I'm really excited because I love the NBA. I'm gonna start with the Pelicans because we are right now 2-1. We're playing the Warriors currently at the time recording. We are losing. Last time I checked, I can't really see the score. My thing keep going in and out. Oh, yeah, we're losing 97-86 currently. We haven't looked bad. The Trailblazers gave us some work, which kind of always happens against us. I think it's always been giving us trouble. The Warriors giving us work without Draymond and Buddy Hield. Sorry, not Curry and Buddy Hield. My fault. And Wiggins. So, yeah, screw me, I guess. Wiggins and Curry. That's what it was. And so we haven't looked bad. It's the first start of the year. We suck. We actually are not going to playoffs anymore. I might as well just not watch the end of the year. But yeah, we lost the game. The world's ending. I don't know if y'all know that. We lost the game. So yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, the Bucks don't look very good, but it's the start of the year. I can't remember. It's probably been 2 or 3 years since we started the year pretty good. Um, you lose to the Nets and the Bulls.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it's embarrassing, but start of the season. We still don't have Chris Middleton. We're trying to get a couple of the new guys in. I think Gary Trent, Torian Prince, they've looked pretty good. You can't expect too much out of them. So we're still trying to get everything together. I think it'll probably take a couple weeks where we're going to be hovering around 500 or below, I would say.
All right, Doc
I
Rivers.
think we're going to be worse on defense this year. Yeah. Brooke has looked better to start the year. He's moving around. He's getting a lot of blocks. He's actually looked a little bit more mobile. So I'm liking that.
Fire Doc Rivers. Honestly, he sucks. I think he's a bad coach, but that's just me. But yeah, just end off this episode. Yankees just won. I know we don't really talk about the baseball that much. That's my fault. I try to implement more, but why get over it. But Yankees just won 11, like to 3-4. So hopefully, oh gosh, Gabe has something.
Yeah, these were like it's kind of outside of the Bucks. I just put like three things that I kind of took note of. It's obviously the start of the year, so you can't really like believe in too many things. But I'd like to really shout out some standouts. Chet Holmgren has been playing very well to start the year. The Thunder are undefeated. He's averaging 23, 13, and then 4 blocks, leading the league in blocks right now. He's stepping up and playing really at a top 5 center level right now, or showing that he can, consistently stay around that mark. JJ Redick really has made the Lakers look a lot better. I don't want to give them the time of day, but I can't acknowledge that they haven't looked better. AD's playing excellent so far, one of the top scorers. The offense is moving around. The role players are impressing. Someone else is impressing, LaMelo. This is the last thing I'll say. LaMelo is starting out very hot. The team sucks, but LaMelo's looking good. 32, 7 and 7 right now. He's shooting 41% from the 3-point line, which is pretty good for him. But he's averaging 6 turnovers, so he's still LaMelo Ball in the end of the day.
I thought,
those are kind of my 3 standouts.
Paolo almost
I'm liking the opening week. I think it was a good opening week.
That was good. That was fun to watch. T-Wolves have looked out about where I thought it was. Kind of shaky, kind of. They're 2-2. They lost the Lakers, beat the Kings. Beat the Raptors, and they lost today against the Mavericks. That's about kind of what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, just to end off today, MLB Yankees won today, so 3-1. No team has ever came back down 3-0. Actually, I never made it past 5 games when they go down 3-0. I don't expect to go any better. Pelicans suck. I just watched freaking Buddy Hield dropped an absolute 3-bomb on us. Screwed my life. And so but thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. We appreciate every single one of y'all. We're gonna have 2 new segments next week, hopefully. And we should have a new editing Instagram Reels. New editing software should be
Instagram Reels.
I have a new editing software.
You got to start cooking.
Propose to Gabe.
You got to start cooking.
And we're gonna try and make this a lot better as it is.
Okay.
Again, sorry for like the random cuts here and there. Internet went out a couple times. Blame Southeastern, not me. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. Watch, subscribe, follow, share, blah blah blah, all that good jazz. But yeah, thank y'all.